Have you ever found yourself regretting a conversation or a moment with a woman, wishing you could turn back time and say or do things differently? We've all been there. You know what they say, hindsight is 20/20, but what if you could start seeing the signs clearly before things get complicated? In relationships, understanding how the opposite sex thinks can feel like cracking a code, especially when emotions and attraction are involved. But don't worry, in this video, we're going to dive deep into the psychology of a woman's mind. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of how to connect with her on a level that goes beyond just the surface. Stick around till the end to gain the maximum insight and learn how to approach relationships with confidence and leave the confusion behind. Build emotional connection. Building an emotional connection with someone is more than just a clever trick or technique. It's the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or even professional. I remember, years ago, when I was figuring out relationships and how to connect with others. I used to think it was all about the perfect words or impressing someone with flashy gestures. But I learned the hard way that none of that matters if there's no real emotional resonance between two people. Emotional connection doesn't happen overnight. It's about being vulnerable, being present, and truly listening, not just hearing words, but understanding what's behind them. I've come to realize that the most powerful connections are built when you allow yourself to be open and honest, even if it feels scary or uncomfortable. Think about it. When you share something real, whether it's a fear, a dream, or regret, it's like giving someone a little piece of your soul. And when they don't judge you for it, when they meet you with empathy, that's when the real magic happens. You start to trust, they start to trust, and suddenly, you're both invested in something deeper. There's a quote I love by C.S. Lewis: "Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, 'What? You too?' I thought I was the only one." That moment of recognition, that spark where you realize you're not alone in your thoughts, struggles, or joys, is the key. But it's not just about sharing similar experiences. It's about the willingness to embrace each other's humanity. It's about seeing someone for who they truly are, without judgment or expectation. So, if you're looking to build an emotional connection with someone, it starts with empathy. It starts with being genuinely curious about their thoughts and feelings. Ask questions, but not the surface-level stuff. Dig deeper. What makes them tick? What keeps them up at night? It's when you go beyond the small talk and really hear them that you begin to build something that lasts. And trust me, that kind of connection is priceless. Be confident and assertive. Confidence and assertiveness, these two words get thrown around a lot, but there's so much more than just buzzwords. I think we all know someone who exudes this quiet self-assurance, right? You know, the kind of person who walks into a room, and it's like the air changes, the energy shifts. It's magnetic. That's what I used to admire from afar. But then, I realized, it's not magic. It's not even some personality trait that only a select few have. Confidence and assertiveness are skills you can develop. I wasn't always confident. In fact, I used to second-guess myself constantly. I remember a time when I was trying to make my voice heard, but I'd always hold back, afraid of what others might think. It wasn't until I started working on being comfortable with myself, flaws, insecurities, everything, that I understood what true confidence really was. It's not about being perfect, it's about being unapologetically you. One thing I've learned, being assertive isn't about bulldozing over others or trying to dominate a conversation. It's about owning your space. It's about saying, "I matter," without feeling the need to justify it. There's a story I remember from one of my favorite authors, Eckhart Tolle. He talks about how we often spend so much energy trying to please others that we lose sight of our own essence. And that, to me, is where assertiveness starts, knowing that your opinion is just as valid as anyone else's. And not apologizing for it. Of course, it takes practice. And sure, you'll stumble. I still do. But when you stand tall, both physically and emotionally, and speak with clarity and conviction, people feel it. They respect it. You don't have to shout or try to force anything. Just stand in your truth. And remember, confidence doesn't come from being perfect, it comes from accepting yourself, flaws and all. When you do that, you start to attract people who value you for who you truly are. That's the kind of connection that lasts. Show genuine interest. Showing genuine interest, it sounds simple enough, but in reality, it's something that's often overlooked. I've been on both sides of this. I've had people ask me questions that felt like they were just ticking off boxes, not really listening to my answers. It's like when you're talking to someone, and you can tell their mind is somewhere else. Maybe they're thinking about what they're going to say next, or they're distracted by their phone. It's frustrating, right? You're pouring your thoughts out, and you just want to feel seen, heard. That's what happens when genuine interest is lacking. Now, I've also been the person who's tried to fake interest in things I didn't really care about, thinking that was the way to connect. But let's be real, people can tell when you're not fully engaged. That's why the real key is authenticity. It's not about pretending to care, it's about actually showing up for the other person. This might sound small, but when you truly want to know what makes her tick, what she loves, what she's passionate about, what makes her laugh, it creates an invisible bond. It's like you're speaking her language. I remember a time when I was really getting to know someone, and the difference between just being there and actually listening was night and day. It wasn't just the surface stuff, like asking what she did that day, but diving deeper. Asking what made her smile today, or what was one moment in her life that really shaped who she is. I started noticing how those little conversations mattered. It made me feel more connected to her, and it made her feel valued. It's a simple but powerful thing. You don't have to make grand gestures. Just show up with curiosity, and listen with intent. People love to feel like their thoughts are worth something. When you show that you're invested in getting to know them, really getting to know them, it opens doors you didn't even know were there. And that kind of connection? That's priceless. Understand her needs and desires. Understanding someone's needs and desires, it sounds simple, but it's often one of the most overlooked aspects of building a real connection. I've been there, trying to figure out what someone really wants, only to realize I wasn't even asking the right questions. You know that feeling when you think you're giving someone exactly what they need, but somehow it still doesn't click? That's because needs and desires aren't always obvious. Sometimes, they're hidden under layers of subtlety, body language, or even the way someone responds, or doesn't respond. A few years ago, I was in a relationship where I thought I had everything figured out. I'd shower her with gifts, take her to nice places, try to make her laugh. But, despite my best efforts, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. It wasn't until a casual conversation one night, where we were just talking about life, that it clicked. She mentioned how much she valued quality time and meaningful conversations, not necessarily the grand gestures. I'd been focusing on the surface level stuff, thinking that was her need, but I was missing the deeper, emotional connection she craved. That moment was a turning point for me. It made me realize that needs and desires aren't one size fits all. Every person has their own unique emotional blueprint. Sometimes, a woman's desire might not be to be taken out on fancy dates, but to feel heard and understood. Other times, it's about feeling secure or supported in ways that aren't always immediately visible. And if you're paying attention, if you're really listening and observing, she'll show you what she needs, maybe not directly, but in the way she speaks, in the little things she does, in the pauses between words. The key is empathy. The key is being curious, not just about what she wants, but about why she wants it. When you understand her desires, what makes her feel seen, loved, and safe, you're not just fulfilling a need, you're tapping into something deeper, something that goes beyond surface-level affection. That's where the real connection happens. And let me tell you, when someone feels truly understood, that bond becomes unshakable. Use humor to create comfort. Humor. It's one of the most underrated tools when it comes to creating real, lasting comfort with someone. Think about it. What happens when someone makes you laugh? It's like a weight lifts off your shoulders, right? For a moment, you forget about the stress of the day, the constant pressure of life. Laughter is a kind of reset. And when you can make someone feel that way, it builds a bridge between you and them. I learned the power of humor the hard way. In the past, I'd take myself way too seriously. I'd overthink every conversation, every move I made. The result? Awkwardness. Silence. It was only when I started letting go a bit, throwing in a joke or a witty comment, that things started to flow. I remember the first time I really cracked a joke with someone I was interested in. It wasn't a perfectly timed, knockout punchline, but it was real. I made her laugh, and it was like the air between us lightened. That was the moment I realized how much power humor has in creating comfort. See, humor isn't about being a stand-up comedian or cracking jokes every 5 seconds. It's about being yourself, not afraid to be a little silly, to laugh at yourself. It's the small, unexpected moments that create ease. It's how you take the edge off a tense situation, how you make someone feel like they can let their guard down without worrying about judgment. I think the writer Mark Twain nailed it when he said, "The human race has one really effective weapon, and that is laughter." It's a weapon, but a good one. It disarms people, creates connection, and helps them feel like they can be themselves. When you use humor authentically, without trying too hard, it creates a comfort zone. You're not just two people talking, you're two people sharing a space where both of you can just be. And in that space, everything becomes a little easier, a little more relaxed, and a lot more real. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the psychology of women. We hope you now have a better understanding of how to connect and communicate on a deeper level. Remember, true connection is built on respect, understanding, and emotional intelligence. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights. Keep healing, keep growing, and always treat the people around you with kindness. Until next time, take care of your heart and mind.